This year marks the 40th anniversary of Live Aid, the historic global concert that not only defined a generation, but also showcased one of the most legendary performances in rock history. That's right, Queen at Wembley Stadium. I'm Christopher Shaw of 80 Central, and in this interview, I sit down with guitarist and founding member Brian May to revisit that unforgettable day. From behind-the-scenes moments to personal memories on and off the stage, Brian takes us back to July 13th, 1985 for a first-hand look at the magic, the mayhem, and the music that changed the world. We still get goosebumps just talking about Live Aid in general, but of course the Queen performance, just, 40 years, and it just still resonates with everybody.
It has resonated over the years. I didn't start off thinking it was the most incredible thing the world had ever seen. I remember coming off and being very aware of the things which we hadn't quite got right. But, and I didn't, if someone had asked me as I came off stage, was that the greatest performance of your life? I would say, probably not. But looking back, I can kind of see that everything was the way it was meant to be. And I think it was one of our finest hours, definitely one of Freddie's finest hours. And the planets were aligned, and it just, the connection was incredible. The magic happened.
Freddie's connection, he's always had a connection with the crowd, but it seemed on that day he understood the moment of what this meant and kind of encapsulated it.
He did. And it's strange looking back, he was kind of dragged into it by his heels a little bit. It's not quite as it happened in the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, but having been dragged into it, mainly by me, as a matter of fact, he enveloped it. He just gave it his whole heart and soul, and he was determined that it would be something wonderful. We also had this great kind of advantage in that we had already played football stadiums. We'd been down to South America. They were packed down there. We played Buenos Aires and places in Rio and stupendously huge audiences, and we had learned what to do. We learned how to get across in that situation, particularly Freddie. And Freddie had this real magical way of reaching out to everybody in the audience. Everybody in the audience thought he was talking to them, even the guy at the back who was very shy, because Freddie, I think, remembered when he was the guy at the back, very shy. And Freddie had that magic, and I think it came out very strongly in Live Aid. And we'd been prepped, by Bob Geldof. He said, look, don't fuck about, boys. He said, play the hits.
Yes.
don't get clever. And we absolutely took it to heart. We did our rehearsal. We did little snips to the songs and crammed as many as we could into that 20 minutes, ran it so that we knew it off by heart. And then we just went on. There's a great phrase, which I learned scuba diving, which is you plan the dive and you dive the plan. Mm-hmm. That's what we did. And it just went great.
Well, what were your thoughts when you first got the call from Bob, or at least, the invitation? Did you think Bob was going to be able to pull this off? And then, of course,
actually,
when it happened.
No. Yeah. I don't think any of us did. No, it sounded ludicrous, partly because there was so many people going to be on the bill. How do you get people to change over between acts that fast? You would have to have an incredible amount of willingness from all parties. But on the day, it was all there. Everybody came in with this incredible feeling of let's make it work and let's forget about our egos. It really is true. I don't remember another day like it in the whole of my life's history. Everybody's heart was in the right place. It's like, we have to make this work for Bob because Bob will make it work for those starving kids.
I talked to Larry Magnin, and he produced the Philadelphia show. And he said it was one of those days where he was expecting to have prima donnas, but everybody just followed the order and were just, of course, he had Bill Graham there, who can be a authoritative figure, but nobody got egos bruised, and everybody just went in order and made it a special day.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a unique occasion and something totally shiny and wonderful in my memory, I must say.
What was it like backstage? Because, looking at all the pictures, seeing the footage, it was a time where people got together. Maybe you hadn't seen people for a long time, but the camaraderie was just as special backstage as it was with the connection with the audience.
Yeah, it was very relaxed, strangely enough. There was a lot at stake, but I don't think we were conscious of the millions out there. We were conscious of an audience which had to be entertained, and it was a special audience. and conscious that we were actually in an attempt to take over the world, to get rid of the which had stopped children being saved from death.
Hmm.
And everybody felt very strongly about it. You kind of want to see that spirit now, because I don't know if it could happen now, but at that time there was such a general disenchantment with the way that governments were handling world poverty, that everybody wanted to give it a shot. Everybody wanted to say, okay, I was there, I tried, I put my bit in, and hopefully we will change the world. And I think it did change the world.
Yeah, it did. There was two events that happened in the 80s that I really thought it kind of made me proud to be a human being. And that was, of course, Live Aid, but there was a kid named Terry Fox in Canada who, cancer amputee, he decided one day, I'm going to help these children, and started running across Canada, raised, and they still have runs dedicated to him to this day. And just,
Wow.
he just said, I decided to do something. And I think that's what Bob did as well.
That's very beautiful.
What was the difference in the preparation? I've talked to some bands that said it was actually harder to prepare for a 20-minute set than it is a kind of a big tour, because you've got to cram everything into that 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was the prescription directly from Bob. Play the hits. Don't mess about. Play the
Right.
hits. So we crammed as many Queen hits as we could into that 20 minutes. And yes, but it's not like, I mean, there's some truth in what this person says, because it's got to be very refined. It's got to be very intense. You've got to not let the energy drop. And it's not what you're used to doing. It's not something you would go out and do anywhere else any other time. You need to do this slot as a one-off special.
Sure.
Strange enough, we did it one other time. We did it when it came to the fires in Australia.
Mhm.
We did a benefit for the firemen down there, and we decided to reproduce our Live Aid set. It's the only other time we ever did it. But boy, it reminded you how hard it was, because you're not doing any of the normal things that you would do in a Queen set. It's a special one-off little jewel, and everything's slightly different. You got to keep your wits about you because things move so fast.
Yeah. I mean, you had no sound check. You got to people realize that, that's an important part, but these bands did not have sound check. They're getting on stage and going.
No, no, we had no sound check. A lot of the gear is borrowed and shared. We had no costumes. We had no lights because it's daylight. And we shared the PA and the monitors. Yeah, everything was slung together. And you know what? Nobody complained. And it was great.
I remember I'm a teenager watching this, and it looked like it was just a well-oiled machine
Yeah.
to say that everybody sounded great. Everybody was in such a great mood. Even Paul McCartney, who had the sound problems at the end, never let that get to him, and
Yeah.
everybody just kind of picked him up.
That's right. Yeah. It was oiled by extreme goodwill, I think.
What was the were you able to watch a lot of you were there for most of the day, if I'm not mistaken, am I correct?
Well, strange enough, this is going to sound odd, but we
Sure.
went there for the opening, and I went to see. We were sitting in the royal box with Princess Diana and Prince Charles, as he was then, and there's lots of pictures of that. And on come Status Quo to
Yeah.
start the whole thing, rocking all over the world, and it was great, wonderful feeling. I mean, incredible lift. So we saw that, and I think we saw a couple of other things, and then we thought, well, we don't need to be here all day because what are we going to do? So I had a date. This is all very strange, but I was very much a family man. And I'd promised my kids I would take them to the fair in Barnes.
Okay.
Helicopters were on hand because Noel Edmonds had donated helicopters to everybody to get them in and out. So I helicoptered back to Barnes, went to Barnes Fair, and strolled around with my kids. Everywhere, people had radios with Live Aid on it, so I couldn't get away from it. And it was surreal, a surreal day. And I was thinking, oh God, we're going to be back there soon. And sure enough, we were. We get back on the helicopter, in we go. And flying in on the helicopter at that point was amazing, because it's all in progress down below you, and you could just feel the steam coming off.
I think Queen went on at the proper time, because whatever fatigue that audience had, they didn't have it after Freddie got there. I thought they just kind of lifted that crowd up.
Yeah, that's right. I think they knew they could feel his passion. And Freddie was unique in that way, and we didn't actually ink that in that he was going to do that, his solo thing. It was like if he felt like it, and he felt like it. He just felt so confident the world was his. And Freddie had, I think some people call it I don't know what you call it. It's a kind of magic that he has, Freddie, all through his career, really, but especially, I suppose, visible at that point. He can reach everybody. He
Mhm.
just reaches out and he connects, and nobody can resist this kind of pull of energy. And there he was.
It's just amazing. I mean, he's still one of my top, just performers. Unfortunately, that was one of the bands that I'd wish I saw live.
Mm,
Didn't get a chance to, but
mm.
it's I love watching the footage still to this day. Just seeing the magic between all of you guys. You guys had a magic that not many bands had.
We did. We had incredible energy together. The energy of the four of us was 100 times more than the energy of any one of us. Yeah.
I've always wondered about a band going from arena to stadiums. It's a lot different, aspect. It's a lot different dynamic. What was it like, going from arenas to stadiums, from your perspective?
Well, very exciting. It was a challenge, and we didn't even know that those stadiums were going to be sold. The guy who promoted it, Jose Rota, was full of all this stuff. Yes, you will fill the stadiums. It will be world shattering because nobody had ever done it. Never. This had never been done by anyone. And we said, okay, we'll believe you. And sure enough, when we got there, everything was sold, and we played to vast audiences. What was it like? Well, we made ourselves as ready as we could. We took an
Mhm.
enormous PA down there for a start, which sounds obvious, but nobody had ever done it before. They'd all tried to do it with small bits of gear. We took two jumbo jets full of gear down there, so that it would sound great. We had a great sound engineer, Trip Caliph, and we rehearsed, and we were conscious of the fact that the bigger the place gets, the more you have to leave a kind of space for people to catch up. You can't just treat it like it's a club because some of it will get lost in the jumble.
Sure.
So we were aware that we had, in a sense, to be bigger and we had to reach out. It's not like we can go there and look at our feet. What do they call those people? Shoegazers or whatever. We have to
Yeah.
go there. We have to go there and reach out and connect with all of these hundreds of thousands of people. So we made a conscious decision to design a set which would be connective and emotive and have a cumulative effect, I suppose, have an emotional effect. We always were that way. We always loved to try and design a show to take people's emotions along with us. It's all about beginnings and endings to begin with, and then it's all about what paces and light and shade, emotional content of songs, lyrics to a certain extent, and giving the audience clues, but not treating them like they're inferior. Treating them, and a big thing happened, I think, along the way that we realized that the audience were just as important as we were to the show. So we started to encourage, and that's another whole story. That's why We Will Rock You was written. That's why We're the Champions was written, because we were conscious that the audience had to be recognized as, well, 50% of the show. We're 50%, they're the other 50%.
Amazing on when you see bands grow up, like Live Aid watched you two transform themselves into a stadium act right in front of our eyes. Because it's
Mm.
not that difficult, not every arena band can do that. It's just amazing to see a band take that giant leap.
Absolutely, yeah. I did see YouTube play, and I thought they were amazing that day, the Live Aid day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that was an
I
eye opener to me because I kind of liked them before that, but after I'd seen that, I thought, wow, these guys are amazing.
well, I had heard some stuff from people backstage saying band wasn't too happy with Bono because they were supposed to play three songs, but of course, I think he got him going down and basically saving that woman's life and
Yeah,
dancing with her. That kind of encapsulated the whole moment of Live Aid. But who knew at
yeah,
the time? And the band wasn't happy, but it worked out in the end.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. Well, Bono, like Mr. Geldof, is a one-off.
Yes,
You
he
don't get
is.
two of them in the world.
You guys decided to do is this the word we
Hmm.
created?
Yeah.
That was such a really special moment too, because again, not knowing that you guys were going to come back out, it kind of kicked everything. It kind of started wrapping up the whole day. Can you take me back about the decision to do that? Just you and Freddie?
I honestly can't remember whose idea it was, but we found ourselves doing it. Yeah, I wish I could remember that moment. But it seemed like a great idea because of the lyrical content and because it was so different atmosphere-wise from anything else we'd done.
Sure.
Very delicate, very quiet, and very contemplative. And it seemed very apt on the day. So we just went out and did it. And again, there's no frills, there's no sort of
Mm-mm.
lighting, the costumes, there's sound, which was quite problematic actually. So look, we couldn't hear each other properly, but nevertheless, I think it was a magical moment, and I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people forget that, which is the big sort of bluster
Hmm.
of the main set, But there we are, just the two of us with nothing except a voice and an acoustic guitar. It it did something, yeah. It turned a corner somehow in the day, and it felt great. It really did. Again, we probably got the confidence from doing something like that in South America.
Sure.
But it wasn't that song. It was Love of My Life that we did in South America, just Freddie.
Okay.
So to do this one was actually pretty scary because we hadn't really done it live. I think you'll find we never did it live before that moment.
Well, thank you so much for giving me a few minutes there, Brian, and happy gardening. At least you've got a
Really
great
enjoyed
day
it.
for it.
Thank you for the great feedback. I really appreciate that.
No
Amazing.
problem. Thank you so much, sir, Brian.
Rock on.